4 seconds. That's how long it took you to answer last night. 23:47. The screen lit up. Someone needed something. You were typing before you finished reading, and you call that generosity. Look at your hands. Nobody reached in. Nobody took anything. You paid. By hand. For years. And you never asked what you were buying. You'd already decided not to answer. That's the part nobody sees. The phone was face down. The day was closed. And somewhere between the light hitting the ceiling and your thumb finding the screen, the decision you made 10 minutes earlier stopped existing. You didn't choose to help. You watched yourself help. By now there's a system to it. Read it fast. Answer faster. Add the soft line at the end so nobody hears the effort. Then you lie back down in the dark with a feeling you've never bothered to name. Not pride, not resentment. Something closer to relief. Because underneath it sits the thought you've never said out loud to anyone. If I stop being useful to them, I'm going to find out how little they wanted me here in the first place. That's the sentence you've been paying to keep quiet. And the price is one night. Every night. You've been buying the same silence for years, and every time it clears, the man who could have used those hours gets a little further away. Run the tape forward. Because it wasn't one message, it was Tuesday, and the Tuesday before that, and the drive across town in February for someone who never mentioned it again. Different people every time. Same 4 seconds. Not once did you ask whether you wanted to. Whether you could afford it never came up either. The only question that ever ran was, what happens to me here if I don't? That's not a generous man's question. That's a man checking a price. And everything you've called kindness since you were 19 has been that question, answered fast enough that you never had to hear it. So give it its name, the purchased welcome, a seat at the table you keep paying for, in a room where nobody is collecting. You never believed the door would stay open on its own, so you bought your way in, and then you bought your way in again, every week for years, in case the first payment wore off. Seneca wrote an entire book about giving, not to praise it, to separate the real thing from the counterfeit. His line was blunt. A man who gives and keeps count isn't generous. He's a lender, waiting on a debt. 2,000 years later, you're still the man he was describing. Look at what one night actually cost. 4 seconds of typing. 20 minutes lying there working out how to fit it in. The morning you handed over. And your own work. Pushed to Thursday again. Where it sits until it dies quietly. You'd still swear you gave it freely. It has a receipt. That's how you know it was never kindness at all. Kindness doesn't keep a ledger. Yours does. You can read it back for years. Every favor. What it bought you. How long the quiet lasted before the next payment came due. Run that 400 times, and you don't end up loved. You end up necessary. And necessary is the cheapest thing a man can be. There's one number under all of this you still haven't run. Not what you gave away. What the arrangement costs to keep alive now. At this age, with this much of it already spent. That one is worse, and some part of you already knows roughly where it lands. Here's the number. At 19, it cost you an evening. Now it costs you the only 3 hours in the day when your own work is any good. The price doesn't hold. That's what nobody tells you about this arrangement. Every year you keep paying it. The thing gets bigger, because the more dependable you are, the more there is to be dependable for. You built the demand, one yes at a time. And somewhere along the way, it stopped being something you do, and turned into who you are to them. The steady one. The one who handles it. You'd think being counted on would feel like belonging. It feels like a shift you can't hand off. Go find the thing you were building at 23. You know the one. It's still sitting there. Stopped at the exact week the first person needed you on a weekend. You count what you gave. Every good man does. What you've never counted is the other column. What those 400 hours would have been worth spent on the one thing with your name on it. That column is the bill. And it never gets sent. It just quietly stops being possible. Some of it is already gone, not postponed. Gone. There were versions of your life that had a window, and the window shut while you were being useful inside somebody else's. Right about now is when you'd usually reach for the phone. Check if anyone needs anything. Same reflex we've been reading for 5 minutes, running on schedule. Then there's the interest, which is where this really turns. Every year, you keep paying, stopping costs more. Because now saying no isn't just saying no. It's finding out what you're actually worth to a room you've been subsidizing since you were 19. And you've run that math already. In the quiet, more than once, you know exactly which names would go silent inside a month, and you've known for a long time. You kept the arrangement running anyway, because suspecting it is survivable and confirming it isn't. So you pay again. It's cheaper than the answer. Another night, another morning, another thing of yours moved to a week that never arrives. And the man who was supposed to exist by now is the only one who never got a single yes out of you. Now go back and look for the invoice. Not the one you've been paying, the one they sent you. There isn't one. Nobody ever set a price on your seat. No one sat you down at 19 and told you what it would cost to stay in the room. You looked at the door, decided there was a fee, and you've been paying it in advance ever since. The people at that table never opened an account in your name. Not because they took you lightly, because there was nothing to open. You were already in. That's the part that's going to sit badly for a few days. The debt was real. The creditor never was. You've been the only man at that table keeping books. This is the short form of the diagnosis. The long one is written down. 12 of these in order, with the work that closes them. Here's what's on the other side of it. Nothing dramatic happens. There's no confrontation, no speech, no moment where anybody notices what you stopped doing. The message comes in at 23:47. You read it. You put the phone face down and you sleep. And in the morning it's still there, and so is the room, exactly as it was. Then the first 3 hours of your day come back. That's the whole payoff. It won't feel like winning. It'll feel like weight leaving your hands. So here's the work, and it's smaller and worse than you want it to be. One request. Not the easy one. The next one. Let it sit. Don't answer in 4 seconds, and don't answer in 4 hours. Let one welcome go unpaid, and then stay exactly where you are and watch what the room does. Nothing. That's the finding. You'll want to explain yourself afterward, and that urge is the payment trying to go through by another route. Let that sit too. Do it once, and you'll know something about your own standing that 20 years of being useful was never going to prove. The purchased welcome is one account. There are others open in your name, and I name a new one every day. The full case file is filed below this video. It's there for the day you decide to run the audit properly. Tonight the screen is going to light up again. It'll be late. Somebody will need something. And there'll be 4 seconds where the price of your seat is on the table one more time. You can pay it. You've had the practice. Or you can sit still and find out the seat was never for sale.